Welcome to another episode of Pandemic Apparel. On today's episode, I'm going to show you how to grade a skirt. I'm going to explain to you what grading is and how to grade it with a machine or with a ruler. What is pattern grading? Grading is the process of increasing or decreasing a pattern size proportionately. When creating a garment, designers work from one size known as a sample size. In grading, this is called the base size. We will use the base size to grade the garment up or down in sizes. Each company has their own measurements for garments and their own grading rules. Garments are graded with a 1 inch, 1.5, or 2 inch grade rule. The grade rules are not sizes, but merely measurements used to grade the pattern. One can use a number of combinations for grading. You can use all 1s, all 1.5, 2 inch grades, but if you look at a size chart, you can quickly determine the grade they used by simply looking at the waist measurement. For example, this company used a 1 inch grade rule for sizes 0 to 10, and for size 10 to 14 they used a 1.5, and for size 14 to 16 they used a 2 inch grade rule. If you were to increase or decrease by 1 inch, then all you would have to do is divide the garment into 4 pieces: front right, front left, back right, and back left, which means you only have to increase or decrease each section 1/4 of an inch, because 4/4 equals 1 inch. For a 1.5 grade, all you'll need to do is increase or decrease it by 3/8 of an inch. And for a 2 inch grade, each section will have to be increased or decreased 1/2 an inch. For this tutorial, I'll only be showing you how to grade the front skirt and breakdown of the measurements. As for the back, you'll repeat all the steps you used for the front skirt. To grade, we have a 0, point and we move it counterclockwise. If you know how to grade, you can move the 0, point anywhere on the garment. For this demo, I'll be using it in the middle of the garment, which is where we increase or decrease the length of the garment as well as the width. When I give measurements, I'll be using things like up, down, out, in. These are directions in which I'm grading. The pattern pieces will be on its side, so it'll be easier for me to mark while I'm grading. So for all of the sizes, we're going to add 1/8 of an inch towards the front of the skirt. And then we're going to add the rest of the measurement to almost to the side of the skirt. They're not accurate lines. They're just kind of like a guideline of where you'd be adding it. So if you were to slash these patterns, this is what it would look like. So take, for example, the 1 inch grade. It needs 1/4 of an inch to increase or decrease the size. So we used 1/8 at the front. We just need 1/8 at the side. For the 1.5, we just need 1/4 of an inch. And for a 2 inch grade, we need a 3/8. So for this example, I'm using a 1 inch grade. I'm going to go up 1/4 and go out 1/8. I'm going to go out another 1/8. And if we were grading this on the machine or on the ruler, down 1/2 an inch. Tools needed: painter's tape, pencil, pattern, grading ruler, or grading machine. Grading with a machine. This is a grading machine, and for this demo, I'll be using regular paper. In the industry, you would use manila paper for each size, and for the front, if it had a fold, you'd be folding the manila paper and aligning that to the machine. So I simply drew a straight line and aligned that to the machine. Then I placed the center front of my skirt on that line. So I marked the 0, point for you guys. Move up 1/4 of an inch, mark center front and waist. Move out 1/8, mark the darts. Move out 1/8 and mark the side seam and waist. Move down 1/2 an inch and mark the side seam hem corner. And back in 1/4 of an inch and mark center front hem. And if you like, you can mark the size and the grade you used. So to grade a size 12, you'll have to go through size 10. For example, you're going up 1/4 of an inch for all sizes. This means to get to size 12, you have to go through a size 10. So you're going up 1/4 of an inch for size 10 and another 1/4 of an inch to get to size 12. And then to go out, you're going to go out 1/8 of an inch for all sizes. So 1/8 of an inch for size 10 and another 1/8 of an inch for size 12, and so on and so forth. Now to fill in the gaps, you're going to use the pattern piece to create that same curve. So wherever you see a gap, you're going to center the pattern piece. Now for industry, they would use a much closer size. So I wouldn't be using a size 8 to draw off a size 14. You would use a size 10 or a size closest to the number. To check my work, I place a ruler on the side seam, and I should have a 1/4 of an inch from the pencil to the red line, which is my size 10. From red to pink, it should be a 3/8 of an inch, and from pink to green, it should be a 1/2 an inch. The reason for this is I used a 1-inch grade for my size 10, a 1.5 for my size 12, and a 2-inch grade for my size 14. Grading with a ruler is basically the same as grading with a machine. The setup is a little bit different. What you want to do is tape the bottom of the ruler to the edge of the table. Then draw vertical and horizontal lines. Mine are in red, and then you line that up with the 0, point on the ruler. I've also drawn a line on my pattern piece where the 0, point is, so I can line that up to my ruler. If you're using a ruler, this line is crucial because you need to line that up with the numbers on the ruler as you go along to make sure that they're straight. As you grade, you might have to lift the ruler to mark the pattern piece. If your pattern is big enough to where your sections of the patterns don't end up underneath the ruler, you don't have to lift the ruler to mark the pattern. When grading with a ruler, you want to check your vertical and horizontal lines and make sure that they match up to the numbers they're supposed to be at, because you can be off by like 30 seconds, which is going to make your pattern lopsided. Move up a 1/4 of an inch and mark center front waist. Move out 1/8 of an inch and mark the darts. Move out 1/8 of an inch and mark the side seam waist. Move down 1/2 an inch and mark side seam hem. Move back in 1/4 of an inch and mark center front hem. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to check out my previous tutorial on sewing darts. I'll be uploading another tutorial shortly, but in the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to Pandemic Apparel.